Okay. And how about if someone says, you know what, I want to avoid jail, I'll just go on probation. Would that be a good solution for a lot of DUI cases?
Well, there's definitely risks involved in fighting DWIs or DUIs. There's risks in going to trial, and jail time is one of those. However, just giving a blanket statement that probation is better than fighting it is not accurate. I mean, there's probation that could put a conviction on your record for the DWI, or there's probation that leaves a conviction off your record.
Really? Okay.
There's also the fact that, if you were unfortunate enough to get picked up a second time, then the penalties get a lot harsher. I mean, a second DWI in 5 years could result in a 5-year driver's license suspension.
Wow.
And you have, the fact that some of these people may not be guilty. I mean, the field sobriety tests have to be done correctly. The breathalyzer needs to be working properly and checked, every now and then. And that stuff needs to be hammered out before deciding whether you want to take your probation offer if you get one.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So what kinds of help in general have you been able to provide to your clients? Have you ever been able to get a sentence reduced, to reckless driving, or reduce their fines, or, not have to have them, go to jail at all? What kinds of things have you been able to do for your clients?
Well, I mean, it varies widely by the circumstances in each particular set of facts. The ability to get some of these charges amended to something else has been it's becoming harder to do. The new DWI law out of Missouri makes it harder to get things like that done. But that's,
Great.
It all depends on the strength of the charges against you. I mean, if they have a weak case, they're going to be a lot more easy to get worked around. And if it caught you dead to rights, it's going to be a tough sell to get them to amend some sort of charge like that.
Okay. Yeah. And, through all the cases you've handled, what have you learned about people's behavior and their reaction to being arrested and prosecuted for DWI? What insights have you gained into this whole process?
Well, generally, the number one emotion I see is people are scared. They're scared about their driver's license because it affects their ability to pick up their kids from school, to go get groceries, to get medicines, and it also affects your ability to get to work and put food on the table for your family. But then there's also fear about the criminal side as well. I mean, obviously, people are scared about going to jail, and that's the number one concern. Okay.
And do you feel that the current DWI law and the punishments are too harsh, or are they too lax, and why do you feel like that?
I would say, for the most part, the criminal side of the DWIs are fair. My main problem is the administrative side of the DWIs. I mean, taking someone's license away for a year for refusing a breath test might be okay in my situation, where I live in St. Louis, and work in St. Louis. I've got access to public transportation, but much of Missouri is rural areas where public transportation is essentially non-existent, and taking away someone's license for a year for refusing, you're essentially taking away their ability to make money and to put food on their table for their family. I think that's a little bit harsh. It needs another look. Needs to be looked at again.
Okay. And what do you see as the future of DWI law, in terms of the punishments and how many, we're going to see, how many offenders?
Well, I would like to think that you would see the number of offenders go down. This new DWI law seems to tilt a little bit more towards treatment as opposed to just punishment, which I think should help, as far as the number of repeat offenders. I like to think that, particularly people with high blood alcohol contents or repeat offenders, just throwing them in jail for a period of time and then letting them go without getting them or helping them get the sort of treatment that they need, it doesn't stop the cycle. But I think we're starting to move towards more treatment. I think that's a good thing.
Okay. And what would you say makes your firm unique in providing DUI defense amongst all others?
Well, one thing would be our availability. I mean, I tell my clients I can usually get back to you within 24 hours whenever you need to reach me. Another thing would be I keep my rates reasonable, but I try to avoid having too many clients. I had that issue come up when I worked at the public defender's office. So now I keep my clients, spread out to where I don't have too many on my plate at once, and I can devote the necessary time to each one. I think a happy client is your best advertising, and I try to keep that in mind when I'm taking on clients. And I guess another thing would be the willingness to try cases. I mean, I didn't keep my nose stuck in a law book for 3 years to look at your file and plead you out in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I did it to gain a knowledge on how to defend these types of cases and defend your rights and how to do it well, and that's what you'll get from me.
Well, it's good to hear. I've never heard from any other DUI attorneys that deliberately limit the amount of people they take so they can pay a lot of attention and hear each one. So that's excellent. It's very good you do that.
Right. There is a lot of attorneys that treat these things like a mass production facility. They just run them through, and I avoid
Okay. And then you may have answered this already, but is there a personal statement that you want to make to all future potential clients that are looking at you and deciding that they should hire you?
Sure. There's generally speaking, I see two different types of clients come in here. One type, the client that comes in here says, "Hey, last weekend I got a DWI. I failed all the field sobriety tests. I blew over. I shouldn't have been driving. Is there anything you can do for me?" For those types of people, what I tell them is, you still need a voice in this. You need someone to try to get some sympathy from the prosecutor, from the judge for you. You want to try to avoid a conviction whenever necessary, because, again, a conviction is not a temporary punishment. It's something that can follow you around the rest of your life. And then, again, there's the administrative side. The losing your license is bigger than just you. It's about getting, yourself or your kids to school or getting to work. And that's what I tell those types of clients. The other type of client would be the ones that's coming here and say, I got a DWI, but I was not drunk. I was not driving while intoxicated. And for those, the ones that refuse to blow on the breathalyzer, it's only the officer's opinion that the case is built around on how you did on these tests. So you need someone to make sure that they did these tests correctly. And on the ones where they did not refuse and gave a breath sample, you need someone with experience about these breathalyzers and knows how they work and knows how they operate and to make sure it was functioning correctly and not reading a higher level than what it should have been. And I guess finally I would tell them that I offer free initial consultations. I'll sit down, talk with you about the strengths and weaknesses of your case and what I can do, and I'll give you a price quote. There's not going to be any pressure involved, so really no reason not to.